For many of us, the beginning of 2022 feels a lot like the beginning of 2021, with a spike in the pandemic being the leading issue of the new year. What are the big issues and big personalities that will dominate our discussions and our headlines in 2022? Joining us today is Sacramento Bee California opinion editor Marcos Bretón and journalist Ed Goldman of the Goldman State. Ed, how would you describe 2021?
A prelude to disaster that we thought was a disaster as it was happening, but actually we still have some more disaster ahead of us.
Marcos, when we had a similar conversation, you, me, and Ed, a year ago, I asked you about 2020, and you said it was the worst year ever and a year that would live in infamy. Well, was 2021 even any better?
It's hard to answer that fully because obviously the issue of the day, the pandemic carried on, and I felt like in the early summer of 2021, for about 15 minutes that we had sort of gotten past it, I was even able to go into my supermarket without a mask because it wasn't required.
That was for like 3 weeks.
Right. It felt like 15 minutes to me. But obviously the resurgence of the pandemic has carried on. The threats to our democracy are still very much present and looming. So this pandemic has bent time for me to where 2020, 2021, and now into 2022 seem all part of the same year, and that we're still dealing with the same issues.
Ed, you know, what Marcos is saying is something that I deal with every day. I get confused as to whether something happened in 20 or 2021 because it all feels like, you know, almost one day that never ends. What's been your experience?
Well, my experience is that we should move away from the Roman calendar, actually, and just assume that this is an era, not a year. You know, it's funny what Marcus was saying about going into the supermarket for about 15 minutes without a mask on. During that time, if I saw anybody without a mask, I thought they were robbing the place. So that's been a big difference, too.
Marcos, I'm curious. What do you think are the issues beyond the pandemic itself? And we'll get to that, but that you think and the people that work for you think are going to dominate the conversations and kind of the focus of press coverage in 2022?
Well, in Sacramento, we're faced with the challenge of having to alter our idea of our business community and our downtown, which has been an economic engine for the city and the region, has been devastated by the pandemic, and we have a lot of empty buildings and an entire business model that is almost irrelevant at this point, and we need to figure out a new way to activate those buildings and for the city to be able to recuperate revenues. We also still in Sacramento have not really come to grips with the depths of homelessness, and our discussions about homelessness are still very much in the complaining phase. And I think that we all have lived under the delusion that these problems are easily solvable or solvable when they're much deeper. And we're also poised for a generational change in leadership in Sacramento. All these forces are coming together, and a number of others, I think, to create an exciting possibility, but also a really uncertain one.
Ed, when you hear about kind of those issues, broken business models, the fact that what we thought of as downtowns or our downtown and the way to operate and things like that, take the long view for us. Is this a blip on the horizon and this too shall pass, or have we fundamentally changed?
Well, I think change is inevitable and ongoing, but I do think it's a blip. It's a very unfortunate blip. It's been a tragic blip because a lot of people have died or just, and as Marcus suggests, downtown's been somewhat incapacitated. But there are also, on the question of the homelessness, homeless people, that's a fairly ridiculous notion, not Marcus's. The city council has had a proposal in front of it for months, done by John Hodgson and a bunch of other people who volunteered their time. I did a column on this several weeks ago, and it's to use $100 million that the city has to go ahead and provide homeless shelters, little homes all throughout the city. And the council has been completely stalled on it. And staff has said, yeah, we're getting back to you any second now. And I've talked to a number of people about it. And a solution, not the solution, but a solution is in front of the city council. They seem paralyzed with fear or just inaction. There used to be a little sign you see on the highways that said your government in action, and that was 3 words then. Now it's 2.
Your government. Well,
actually, it's just 3 words now. It used to be 4. I'm sorry. It was your government in action. Now it's just your government in action.
In action. Well, I have direct evidence of what you're saying there. Interesting. One of the graduates of my leadership program created a soccer field to help low-income people and others who are disadvantaged learn how to get out and play some sport and participate in teams and leagues. It's over off of X Street in downtown Sacramento. And there are encampments all along lining that part of X Street. Right. And the issue is that for some people, particularly people with children, it's a little bit of a concern, particularly at night, coming in and out of the place. And so there's this balance between empathy, compassion, and making sure that people get their services. But the question that the impolite question, Marcos, that a lot of people will not say publicly is, well, what about my business? What about my home? Do I have any rights myself? And it doesn't seem that there's been, at least from government, a clear answer on that.
Well, and it's which government are we talking about? Because I think in Sacramento, the conversation around this has not evolved enough to really focus the spotlight on all the governments we're talking about. Ed just referenced the tiny home issue. That's not only delayed because of the city, it's delayed because of the state and the land and the state's desire to study the issue. The city is not a social services agency, the county is. But in our city, in our region, in our county, the city of Sacramento gets all the attention, and the responsibility of the county never really gets on the agenda of discussion. Even the advocates for homelessness focus all their wrath on Mayor Del Steinberg, who really, in point of fact, is most sympathetic to their plight of anyone on the council. And they overlook the fact that the county is the agency with the federal grants and with the funding and with the mandate to deal with mental health, deal with substance abuse, and they always fly under the radar.
Well, let me on behalf.
Can I just comment on that?
Sure.
There was a solution to that many years ago put forward by then County Supervisor Muriel Johnson, and it was to combine the city and county into one, as it is in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And a county out here is rather superfluous. It's Marcos is right about that's where the funding goes through and all that. The most visible aspect of the problem, however, is in the city. And we can leave that at the county's doorstep as long as we want. We can blame the state for not doing something. What it really is that the county should not even exist. It should be Sacramento, the city and county. And then you'd have one unified, centralized entity to deal with all these problems.
Now, it's interesting you both say that, because I was speaking with a county supervisor not more than 48 hours ago, and he was making the point that, and this was directed at me, which is that the county can't catch a break. He admitted that 3-4 years ago, what we collectively have said about the county's historic inaction was true, but his pushback was, you all are still saying the same story without any look at what we've done and what we've got on deck to do. Marcos, how would you respond to that?
I'd say that's bunk. I'd say that's pretty typical of the local politicians here, where they always want to sing a sad song about how no one really recognizes what they're doing. The fact of the matter is that the county government in Sacramento has existed to fund the county sheriff's department above all, and social services have been marginalized for years. And the sheriff still rides herd over the budget process, and any sort of autonomy oversight by the supervisors is baloney. So I hear that a lot. I've been in this town for a long time. I hear that a lot. And now that I'm in the opinion business, I have people trying to spin me all the time on why aren't we giving people credit for the things that they're doing, when a lot of times the things that they're doing are performative. And that's the issue, really, in my mind.
I've been in Sacramento, I think even longer than Marcos, and I'm in violent agreement with him on this issue. I really am.
That scares me all in itself. but moving
next time,
on,
invite two people who disagree with each other.
Yeah. Moving on, Ed, I'm curious though of the issues that have been playing out over the past few years. Is there anything that you're looking forward to kind of come to its ultimate point and really take front and center stage in 2022?
Well, I'm going to be flippant about my answer, but back east, Starbucks baristas are now unionized. I think that's going to become global. So anywhere you go in the world, there's somebody there to misspell your order. And I think we're going to see I think we're going to have to start. Marcos mentioned performative. I think we're going to have to start saying things like the Sacramento Kings and elected leaders working on a commission. If they don't perform, they don't get paid. And what we do is we don't hold people accountable in the checkbook. We only hold them accountable by ranting and raving about them and writing editorials or me writing satires on them. But nothing happens until you just say to somebody, you don't do anything, you don't get your money.
It's interesting. Well, we talk about accountability. We're in an election year coming up. And Marcos, coming off unsuccessful recall, the conventional wisdom is that Gavin Newsom's reelection is a foregone conclusion and more of a coronation than an election. Is there any issue or challenger on the horizon that could change that notion?
Well, in California, it would take a legitimate Democrat to step forward and present an alternative to Gavin Newsom. And so that would take political courage. So I don't view Newsom as facing a coronation. It's more like him walking through a door that was opened by nothing that he did, but by a couple of generations of changes in population and in ethnicity, and the state becoming as blue as it is, and him being in a position to walk through that door through no real big talent of his own, just that he was the lesser of all evils who were running. I hope that there is a Democrat out there who can challenge the governor, because the fight would be in the primary. It would not be in the general. Once a Democrat is nominated, it's a foregone conclusion. So the question is there a Democrat out there with the courage to challenge Newsom? I hope there is.
If I could weigh in on that, Scott. First of all, political courage is to me an oxymoron. So, I would think that actually the only one who could successfully challenge Newsom at this point would be a very charismatic Republican. Because no matter how, I mean, when we look at the only Republican that made it to the top of the poll there with Newsom, it's this Elder who's just an absolute sack. And I think that if they could actually find a charismatic Republican, somebody more in the I mean, it's going back generations. It would be like more in actually the way Pete Wilson was before he started playing the race card in his election bids. Somebody who is a liberal Republican, I think they'd have a chance of at least shaking up things because there are, you know, I talk to even my fellow Democrats, and there's a great deal of anger about our own party, and I share it.
Well, speaking of that, one of the things that seems to be uniting a number of people across the spectrum, but in two very separate camps, is that the legislature is about to pass and put on the ballot a constitutional amendment that would guarantee universal health care. And while a number of people think that making sure that people have access to health care is a public good, at the same time, they're talking when it is projected that we're going to have at minimum a $30 billion surplus in the state budget, adding $200 billion in new taxes on top of that to pay for this new universal healthcare package. And it seems that there are warring factions who are not speaking to each other. But if that passes, does that turn this notion that we are pushing people out of California into more of a reality, or is this the usual carping anytime government tries to expand services? Marcos?
I mean, it depends on who's carping, right? So we're the state of stark contrast. We have I just had a meeting this morning with my colleague at the Fresno Bee. Fresno Bee is the breadbasket of California. That's where we grow food for the world. And it's also one of the poorest regions, not only in the state, but in the United States. And so bad that Michelle Obama is coming to Fresno to bring boxes of food for families. So it seems to me the people who are carping the loudest are the ones who have the most. So my sympathy is limited in that regard. And the idea of universal healthcare to me is one that is born because of the disparities, the stark disparities that we see in our state, and the attempts, so far futile attempts, to even that out.
Interesting. Well, you know, in addition to big issues like universal health care coverage, because it is an election year, the people are turning over. The generational swing seems to be in full effect. And last year, Marcos, you talked about emerging voices like new council members at the time, Katie Valenzuela in Sacramento, Mai Vang, also on the Sacramento City Council, new mayor of West Sacramento, Martha Guerrero, new mayor in Elk Grove, Bobby Singh Allen. Incidentally, all of these women coming onto the scene. Have these emerging voices changed the conversation at all?
In little pockets, yes. Overall, no, because there is an ascending progressive body of people who are running for office. Curiously, many of these folks have one thing in common, and that they were emerging leaders, fellows of one Scott Syphax. The person who I'm really watching in this year is Alana Matthews, who is running for district attorney in Sacramento County. She's a progressive. She would be in the line of the Chesa Boudin in San Francisco or George Gascon in Los Angeles. Is Sacramento ready for that sort of thing? And I would ask you, Scott, as someone who has really made an impact on focusing on emerging leaders, is who you see as some of the emerging leaders in Sacramento right now.
I think that there are a number of people. You speak about Alana Matthews Davis, who does cut a very different profile with regards to how she looks at the administration of the Office of District Attorney. There are others, people that are running for electeds, like Michael Lynch, who is running for Angelique Ashby's current seat. She's running for state senate. But I'd also take it out of politics and say there are others. Amanda Blackwood at the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce. There are just any number of people across sectors, entrepreneurs, elected officials, government agency heads, people who are taking over large nonprofits. And I see that the trickle of people from the baby boomer generation retiring, it really is a flood. And one of the big issues, which you can read it one of two ways, is the generation that is retiring out and moving out transferring the knowledge that they have to this younger generation. But some in the younger generation might say, as a matter of fact, they say it to me all the time, which is, if your knowledge was valuable, you would have solved these problems and we wouldn't have to be so involved in them.
I agree with that, actually. You know, Scott, I absolutely agree with that. There are a couple other people. Amanda Blackwood, by the way, I've written about her perhaps 3 times. I'm extremely impressed. I think it's a very good call on your part. There's also a woman running right now for council, Katie Maple. I might be mispronouncing her first name. It's Caity. I've been very impressed with her stands on things and her energy. And I think what you're saying, though, is right. It's like, let's stop worrying about this institutional knowledge. It's what got Joe Biden elected with the help of, you know, the surge of Black voters toward the end. But he supposedly was the guy who knew how to make everything work because he'd been in the government all that time. It's probably the only thing Trump said, I think, during that campaign that I agreed with, that you had all this time to solve all these problems, and now you're running for president because you didn't solve them before.
He is beginning to remind me of Mr. Magoo.
That's right. Hi, George.
And I know I'm dating myself because probably nobody knows who Mr. Magoo is.
I know who he is. That's Jim Backus's voice.
In our final moments, and we've only got time for one big prediction. Marcos, you start.
Well, I predict that we're going to have a generational change in leadership in Sacramento, and we're going to have some of these young people who we've talked about who are going to win. And then the question that I have is, okay, you've been saying a lot of stuff on Twitter. What are you going to do now?
Okay. And Ed, you get the final word. You have a few seconds. Let's have it. Your big prediction.
I think President Biden will yield the presidency to the most qualified woman in government, Dr. Jill Biden.
Okay. Well, we shall see. And we will see how well we do next year. My final one is that there will be a lot of storm and fury around the Republican primary for governor, and it'll all be for naught. So we will leave it there. And thank you both for sharing your thoughts with us. Okay. And that's our show. Thanks to our guests, and thanks to you for watching Studio Sacramento. I'm Scott Syphax. See you next time right here on KVIE. All episodes of Studio Sacramento, along with other KVIE programs, are available to watch online at kvie.org/video.